Israeli attacks on Iranian nuclear facilities have brought more turmoil to the Middle East as President Donald Trump weighs U.S. involvement in the conflict. On this, IBD explains, we break down how investors can navigate the latest news headlines. Here with me to break things down is IBD news editor Ed Carson. So, Ed, another curveball here for investors this year. Israel launched airstrikes against Iran on June 13th. So, how would you characterize the market's reaction to that news so far?
The market's been pretty resilient. Certainly, the stock market, it's sort of been trading in a range. It's not really sure what it wants to do, but it's not falling apart for sure. And that may be what we have happen until there's some kind of clarity about how we get some kind of resolution or something toward a resolution on this conflict.
And what sectors have been impacted or have been moving on these headlines?
Well, obviously, energy, especially oil stocks, as oil prices have moved up. They haven't moved up to stratospheric levels. They could move a lot more depending on news. And there's also the perspective of, we don't know if it won't last, then the oil stocks won't last. Defense names have rallied. Some travel names have come under pressure, partly for energy reasons and maybe just concerns about that travel might be disrupted, and whether it's airlines or cruises. So there's some impacts. Those are some of the major ones so far.
And we have some possible case studies to learn from here, mainly the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks and when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. So, any lessons that investors can glean from those situations?
Yeah, it's unclear if we're going to have something like that, where it's something long lasting. I mean, 9/11 had long-term impacts, and we were already in a recession, a bear market, or a bear market. So there's a lot of things going on around 9/11, and there was fundamental things that changed after that. The Russia-Ukraine war, it's still going on. It didn't last. I mean, maybe if that had lasted 3 days, as Putin wanted, that would have been a blip ultimately for the markets. We don't know what this is going to be like. It could be that there's a deal reached very soon and that Iran does this or that and everybody settles down. And then maybe things normalize or people just take that and markets price it in and then it goes from there. But what if it's ongoing? What if the US gets involved? What if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked off for a substantial time because the oil prices skyrocket? So it's not clear. We don't know if this is short term like a Cuban Missile Crisis or something like the Russia-Ukraine war that's on for a long time. And it's just that talk about all these little possibilities, but ultimately you just have to look at the market and just sort of try to pay attention to that and the market digest and let what you should be doing rather than trying to tell the market, this is what's going to happen in the Middle East. That's a fun game to play.
As you said, Ed, a lot of things that we don't know yet, and this is a very fluid situation. But what are some guidelines or maybe the main message investors should be really focusing on as the world and the markets navigate the latest tensions?
Just in general, it's not the news, it's the market reaction to the news. And again, just because the markets are calm now doesn't mean that they won't change. It's just like, oh, well, they're calm, everything's fine. No, that doesn't mean that. It just means that you should be paying attention to the market, rather than trying to guess at what the market will do. It's one thing, in general, we've been saying it's been a good time to be invested for other reasons. Just maybe be cautious about new buys and certainly be ready to take action. I mean, there could be something the market could decide that it's going to take off because things are resolved, or it could sell off because there's some new development that the markets don't like. And so you don't necessarily need to take a lot of action right now, but you need to be ready to take action. I think that'd be just a little bit more alert rather than specific direction for investors right now.
Well, Ed, thank you so much for your insights today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Lexi.